Good morning all. It's good to see you all on a Sunday morning actually. I take this opportunity to thank for this opportunity as well as it was ABN which really motivated me to start my own consulting firm. I started my own firm on the day of Mega ABN which happened on December 22nd. Actually, which gave me a lot of, I attended 2 or 3 sessions here first actually, a lot of encouragement, while I was looking for what to do next actually, then I decided to go on my own actually. So, with that, just a brief introduction about me, close to 20 years of experience in IT space, working for various corporates, especially iGate Global Solutions, then Fidelity Information Services, HSBC, and final employment was with Data Tracks as a Chief Technology Officer. Now I am into running my own management consulting firm, focusing mainly on blockchain solutions and digital transformation, which is the revolutionary technology that is happening, just de-risking my career actually. Okay, so my special thanks to Kannan sir. Always he encourages me to come and do a session here. I said I'll take some time before I do it. Innekku oru kala get up irukkaru actually. Yeah, thanks to Sadasivam sir, and congratulations to Sadasivam sir for taking up the new position as a vice president of Tamil Nadu Agriculture. Okay, always I'm thankful to Mr. Ilanagai sir. I'm associated with him on a couple of more things, which he always encourages, and I'm looking forward for a long-term relationship. Okay, with that, I'll directly jump onto the subject actually. So, just to set the expectation, because I have been given only 30 minutes actually, what I'm going to cover, because Shiva was asking me, ரொம்ப டெக்னிக்கலாக பேசுகிறாங்கன்னா ஒன்றும் புரியாது அப்படின்னு ஆக்சுவலாக. So, I'll cover up the concepts of blockchain, the benefits, use cases actually, what kind of opportunities and forecast is there, many, because the technology is disruptive, every month, now it's becoming every week actually, but this technology is going to stay, okay, for sure, okay, that I can guarantee. Okay, next slide. Okay, what is blockchain? Everybody would have heard this term actually, jargon, or many people. First I want to clear this: bitcoins and blockchain are different. Okay, please understand that. Many people think that because when I went to register my company, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs rejected, saying that you are doing a cryptocurrency. Looking at the term blockchain actually. So blockchain is the technology behind bitcoins, which is the cryptocurrency. Okay, so but blockchain has got more uses. So it is a decentralized database and distributed ledger technology. So I've given an explanation on what is distributed ledger technology. See, you see the centralized how it would be, and decentralized and distributed. In distributed ledger technology, every stakeholder who will be involved on that network will have a copy of the digital ledger actually. So it is very tamper proof. If they are trying to modify things or do some fraudulent activities, the chain will break. See, if somebody is trying to tamper on this data, the chain will break. Everybody will know somebody is doing a fraudulent activity. So it is mainly of transparency of data. I'll come to the benefits of it in the next slides. So, internet of, we got used to internet, it's of data sharing and stuff like that. This particular technology is called internet of values. How we can make value out of using the internet. So it is called internet of values. Okay, and it holds the history of custodianship, ownership, and assets and stuff like that. So, as I said in the distributed ledger technology, so through a network which is called nodes, I will explain later. Any record which is written cannot be updated. So it is immutable actually. So because when we have on centralized servers here, there will be an admin who can get into the system and they can modify the records actually, right? However they want it. So that is not possible with this technology. So everybody, they have to take the consensus, which means that everybody in the network has to approve the transaction, then it will be joined with as a block. Okay. So in a simple words, it's like a spreadsheet, for your understanding. It's like an Excel spreadsheet which accepts inputs from a lot of sources. So as I said, only when everybody in the network approves the transaction, it will be added to the block actually, which makes it very secure. Whenever there is a transparency of data, automatically productivity will be improved. I mean, there will be a check on everything, kind of things. So go to the next one. Okay, these are all the key features of blockchain. Because when you're looking at centralized, decentralized, and distributed ledger technology, what is the advantage of using this technology? Okay, so every node, right, will be stored in blocks, when it is created. I mean, when a new data is, written, it sends a notification to all the people in the network. They have to see that. Now, for example, I'll tell you something. One example, see, A sends $50 to, A has $50 and he sends about $20 to B. So that is recorded as one transaction. In the network, so 4 people are there, A, B, C, D. So A sends $20 to B, then that is recorded as one transaction. Then B sends to C as another transaction of $15. Then C sends to D as $10. Now D is trying to send it has got only $10, but D is trying to send $20. Chain will break actually, because everybody will have the transparency on data. So especially on a larger scale of supply chain and those kind of things, it will really help actually. So decentralized, I already explained actually, where everybody have to take a consensus, then it is approved actually. Secure, very secure, immutable. Records cannot be edited or corrected. New. Suppose some change is there, it has to come as a new record. Again, everybody in the network has to approve. So very trusted. When we go with this model, trust is built. More trust is built. And it is automated actually, meaning double transactions can be avoided, because as I told the example of ABCD, actually everybody will have a transparency on data, so that fraudulent activity can be brought down. So the three key areas on blockchain, especially okay, if it's blockchain, what comes to your mind? Trust, value, and reliability. These 3 are very important actually. Okay. So which brings in security and value for what you do actually, and being a decentralized, so there's no single point of failure actually. Because everybody in the network will have a copy of the ledger, digital ledger. Okay, this is the difference between a traditional model and distributed ledger technology. How we have now clearing houses actually, right? When you transfer big amounts and stuff like that, it goes to a clearing house, then it is transferred to the next bank and those kind of things. So in the distributed technology, so there will be multiple copies of this shared ledger. Every stakeholder will have the copies. So there will be more transparency of data, because everybody verifies the transaction before it's been approved actually. So this is a traditional versus distributed ledger. Go to the next one. Okay, this slide is very important, because these are all the major benefits of using this blockchain technology. I'll go one by one. I explained on the transparency on data. So every stakeholder in the network actually, for example, I'll take an example, trade finance. You take trade finance, exporters, importers, exporters bank, importers bank, port authorities actually, so customs, so many stakeholders will be there actually. Everybody will be brought into this network. They have to be a participant first of all actually of this network. So where there can be no kind of saying that it is stuck there, that kind of a thing will not happen here, because there will be transparency of data, especially in trade finance and all. If you take the amount of time taken to process things, paperwork and those kind of things, actually they keep their goods in the warehouses for 4 months, and because to get things cleared. So all this would be improvised using the blockchain technology, because it will be much faster when there is a transparency of data, where exactly it is getting stuck, and every stakeholder will have a clear picture. Okay, Establishes trust and accountability. So when you have this transparency of data, automatically productivity will be improved and more trust will be created, because it is black and white. Everybody will know what is exactly happening, where it is getting stuck actually. So peer-to-peer transaction. So already, in small banking thing, already it is happening. IMPS is there, those kind of things. But larger transactions, there will be, they will eliminate the intermediaries. So it will be direct, the processing will be much faster. So I'll give you an example for that. You take music industry. Okay, now we have a music brand, Sony, and so many things, Lahiri, and so many brands are there actually. So I'm pretty sure all this will be gone one day, because it will be directly going to the, the compensation will be directly going to the artist. So there will be no intermediate bodies in between. Okay. Data authentication and verification. So records once written, meaning a transaction which is recorded cannot be changed. Meaning, it can't be because I've written it, I've processed it incorrectly. It has to be written as a new record, and everybody in the network has to give the consensus before it's get approved. Very secure and hard to tamper. I wouldn't say you can't tamper. There are people who can do. Okay, so so it's yes, very hard to tamper. That is what I would say. 95% actually. So 5%. Okay, yeah. So I already explained that prevents modification of previous records. Somebody is trying to modify things, the chain will break actually, because so everybody will have a clear notification saying that somebody is trying to do something different. Faster transaction speed. See, when you do all this, when you bring in all these processes, so automatically, as I gave the example of trade finance, the things which are happening for 4 months, the processes can be brought down to a week or 4 days kind of thing actually, where a lot of cost would be saved as well. Where you take the cost of having their stocks in the warehouse actually for how many days, because of paperwork they would be paying so much to keep their stocks actually. So all this would be cost savings. Okay, better data management. So black and white, inside or outside the company, when when so many stakeholders are in the network, everybody will have a clear picture, where exactly it is. Easy to pull the record. See, you go to many industries actually, everybody is maintaining a physical ledger. Tracking the file itself is a big challenge actually. So I don't know, inge file vacha, all these kind of things they will be saying, but here it will not be there. So very open and transparency of data. So it will improve the communications and stuff like that actually. So reduces operational cost naturally, when you bring in all this actually, and the complexity of cross enterprise business processes. So many processes can be improved implementing this technology. We talked about fraud, reducing fraud, optimizing many operations. So overall, implementing this technology improves the productivity for the organization, one at the employee level as well as at the organization level. So the key takeaway is what you have to know. If it is blockchain, if you hear about blockchain, what it can bring: transparency on data, productivity will be improved, cost will be reduced actually. So very secure, then provably immutable. All these are major benefits of doing it actually. Definitely all these characteristics will definitely improve the productivity of an organization. Next slide. Okay, so when you talk about block, what exactly is inside the block actually? That is this representation actually. There are 4 important things in a block. See, the very first transaction, it's called zero hash actually. The very first one will not have the previous hash kind of thing. So that is the zero transaction. So after that, okay, every block will contain the previous hash details and the current hash. We call it as hash. which is the digital fingerprint of the data. It can be of any size actually. So even my name Ram will have a 64 alphanumeric character. Okay, that is a representation for my that data. Even if I put 64 MB of data also, that 64 alphanumeric hash will be represented actually. Okay, so that is the current hash. So from the previous, so here they mentioned previous block, which is the previous hash details, and this hash will have the data, the current data, the whatever amount of data. It can be multiples actually. Then the public key from where to where it goes actually. This is the content of the block. When a new transaction happens, suppose there are 10 stakeholders on that network. Take trade finance. A copy goes to all the 10 people. All the 10 people, they have to they have to validate. That is what we call it as consensus. They have to validate, and only once it is approved, that block is included to the that node. Yeah, node is included to the block. Yeah. Any questions? Okay, next one. Okay, these are all some of the terminologies actually. There are various terminologies, so I have just put the ones which are very important, which you might read in papers and stuff like that, so that you understand. A node is a participant here actually. One of the stakeholders actually, participant in the ledger. So I've given an example. A node in the financial ledger would be a transaction like a bank or a custodian or asset manager. Hash function, I already mentioned, so it's a 64 alphanumeric character, which is a digital fingerprint of your data, any data. So one way hash, you can't calculate the original record from the hash. It is so secured actually. So private keys are used to sign hash. Nouns is a random number, which is what the miners do actually to calculate the hash number. Smart contracts is another thing which you will hear this, especially there is a framework called Ethereum, so where they use the smart contracts. As the simple word means, so it will execute a contract. It's like a if then else statement kind of thing actually for IT people. So only if it satisfies a condition, it will execute that contract, which will be very transparent, because in corporate world they will say I have processed, the file has been gone to the next table kind of thing. No, only if there is a check, if this is satisfied, then execute the contract, otherwise don't do it actually. So it is so transparent. Next one. Okay, this is how it works, how blockchain works actually. Given to an example. Someone requests for a transaction, so which I said a new transaction is written, and it goes to all the participants in the network. Okay, so these are all the participants actually. The notification goes there. They do the validation. Each one of them is called node. As I told, node is a participant in the network. So a notification goes to each of the nodes to validate and approve the transaction. Once it has been verified, so once it's verified, then it is included as the new block. Then the transaction is complete. So when you have this kind of a transparency, and everybody, I gave that ABCD example actually. So that's a small one, but on a larger scale, it will bring a lot of productivity. Yeah. On what? No, okay. There is a they do reward people who first approves that actually. There is a okay. So there incentives. Yeah. Because otherwise, if nobody responds, so yes. Go to the next one. Okay. So these are all the use cases of blockchain. Various use cases are there. I talked about smart contracts. Only if a particular condition is satisfied, execute the contract. So blockchain is applicable for any industry. You can't say that it is. Because currently BFSI people are exploring more, because transactions more on BFSI side. It is not just restricted to BFSI. Any industry, medical industry, chemical industry, movie industry, any industry per se. So it can be applied anywhere. Only thing is trying to understand, the use cases actually. First, identifying use cases, because many people have a challenge on identifying that, because they might have a process. They first wanted to understand how the organization will benefit by implementing it, because there are some firms which do just for the sake of, implementing a new technology. It should not be the case. There has to be a business outcome for the business, for the company. So that has to be properly validated, because there are a lot of challenges involved on, I would say blockchain as part of a digital transformation is one of the digital transformation actually. Where no, I would say it will replace, because many things are manually done now actually. So there will be a replacement combination of both actually, because the traditional organizations have got more of a legacy systems actually. You can't simply shut the system and go for a new one. It has to be a phased approach. First address the low hanging fruits actually. Go by, we have to strategize and go by that approach. Okay, so only if the organization sees some kind of a benefit implementing this technology, I'm sure they will all do. Currently it is at the stage. I've been giving sessions on for various corporates actually. So especially educating the executive levels first of all, what is blockchain. So every time I go, based on the industry, I put together a use case for them, so that it is more relative to them actually to understand. So all are at the POC stages, proof of concepts or pilots actually. They wanted to understand how it can improve. Definitely, how we used to hear about mainframes and Y2K in 2000. You will all hear about this in next 2 years of lot of production implementations. There is various forums and where they are creating an open source framework, especially for BFS and all. IBM is leading that actually as part of Linux Foundation. So which is Hyperledger Fabric. It's one of the frameworks. There is another framework called Ethereum, multi-chain, so on and so forth. R3 Coda, that is also for the financial industry. So all are at POC stages. Production implementations, definitely you can see over the next 3 to 5 years extensively. So you would have read about a lot of things about ICICI has implemented blockchain solution 1.5 years back. They just tested with one node. With one node anybody can do, but it has to be a larger scale actually. That kind of implementation will happen over next 3-4 years actually, widely. Go to the next slide. Okay, these are all other use cases for you to understand where and all it can be applied actually. See, take public records. So land titles, smart contract can be put there. Only if it satisfies the condition, the title will be changed. Right, so there will be no fraudulent activity. Right, vehicle registrations, regulatory records, passport processing, voting. Right, every voting machine votes for BJP. So it's all those kind of things can be eliminated. So yeah, hope so. I wish so. Yeah. Okay. So these are all for the BFSI side of it actually. So I'm not going in depth on each of these use cases, because for industries and corporates, the use cases would differ from company to company, what they really wanted to achieve actually. So I want to touch base this. Many governments throughout the world are exploring to implement this blockchain solution. I'm also talking to Canadian government for some proposals and stuff like that, with Andhra Pradesh government also. In India, AP is leading on this actually. They are coming up with a center of excellence in Vizag. So so many things are happening. And last budget, Arun Jaitley did talk about blockchain solutions. So Indian government is looking forward to implement blockchain solutions, maybe because of GeoCoin introduction. Okay. Oh, next one. So This is another use case for healthcare industry, where the data being shared. You would have heard about HIPAA compliance in US. Actually, they tried to do it, but they did not implement that effectively. Actually, so here, between the hospitals and the patients, it can be more of a transparency actually. So where they don't sell any data or anything, like only the patients, they can release the details of the history only if it is required. That kind of a transparency can be brought in here. This is for the healthcare industry. Go for the next one. Okay, this is for the chemical industry. This I presented in CPCL recently. So they asked me to work on a proposal, Chennai Petroleum Corporation Limited, so on the first three. So supply chain is one of the main areas, especially supply chain and trade finance is a large use case for blockchain. So you all know about Bitcoins. Why there is a confusion between Bitcoin and blockchain? Because it is the first successful application of blockchain technology. Bitcoin was the first successful application. So everybody gets confused with Bitcoin is the same as blockchain kind of thing. No, blockchain is a technology behind Bitcoins. So supply chain, even for security. When I met them, first of all, we have to understand the pain points of the customer. What are all the areas they wanted to address. So when I talked to them, they said, we are doing good with all other things, but we have a lot of challenges on services, security, and those kind of things actually. So I'm working on a proposal for them on that, how we can improvise that process. So again, shareholder voting, production sharing, so all this kind of things can be used using the blockchain. Next one. Okay. These are all the opportunities and forecast, where exactly we are and how things are moving, how next 3-5 years, what are all the major implementations that would happen. So if you see here, we are at the stage of payment authorization, direct peer-to-peer transaction. Philippines and all has implemented direct money transfers. See, as I said, around 2020 and all, trade finance implementation, production implementation will be more actually. Digital issuance, transfers, and then notarization services, post-trade processing. This is very important. So any after the trade processing, you would have heard about a company called DTCC. They do the 99% of the post-trade processing for US. DTCC. CC. They have an office in Sholing, sorry, SP Infosity. Yes. So they are a major player in that area actually. So this is how the roadmap is, for the production implementation. So there are, just to give you a number, around 1,500 companies, startups are there on blockchain. If you talk about cryptocurrencies, actually there are 1,000 plus approved cryptocurrencies. Okay, I've given a speech on global cryptocurrencies and initial coin offering in recently held Future Money conference in Bombay. See, there is no guarantee. And see, I'm not involved with ICOs actually. Okay, so because I don't do ICO. Initial coin offering. It like public offering. It is called initial, like IPO. It is initial coin offering because there is no services or anything attached to it. My sincere input to you all is be very careful on investing on ICOs actually, because nothing is guaranteed. Like at least when you get shares, you will have all this kind of proofs, but here nothing is guaranteed. So unless government does a KYC process of the investors, and there is some kind of a services provided for what you invest, it's a very dangerous thing actually, right? There's no guarantee, they can shut the shop immediately and go. You can't get the money back. Yeah.
They will do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are all the forecast. Go for the next one. So these are all the major banks and financial services who are exploring for blockchain opportunities, trying to implement. Definitely, every banking, financial services, insurance, they're going to implement the solution for sure. You will hear this actually. Even in our government also, I'm saying. I'm not sure about Tamil Nadu, but all other governments, they will do it. Good, good.
Yeah, busy.
Yeah. Next one. Okay, this is the forecast by Gartner. Okay, so what kind of value add the blockchain can bring in? See, you see that 3.1 trillion by 2030, it can add value to the businesses actually. So that is what I told you. This particular technology is going to stay. Okay, so these are all the 4 areas. Survey by SAP says that the leaders are very curious to understand this technology and implement some kind of a solution which can bring business outcome for their organization, especially on this supply chain IoT. With few more seniors, we are also exploring to create a product on blockchain and IoT.
IoT, what is the acronym for?
Internet of Things. See, Ilanage sir was asking a question, right? So, if I'm coming, just before 15 minutes, if I want to switch on the AC. Okay. So, it is connecting to devices. Internet of, yeah. So this would be the major area this blockchain solution will be implemented. Supply chain and IoT. Okay. Then legal and regulatory, of course, any kind of registrations and stuff like that, which needs more transparency. Cryptocurrency, of course, because there are already 1,000 plus approved are there. 1,000 more without approved, they are still doing the ICOs, across the world. So they will be using that technology. Sustainability. Go to the next one. So job markets. This people having blockchain experience is very less now actually. So because it is relatively new, it's actually the technology came by 2008. Okay, but that time the successful application was only bitcoins. Okay, now they have understood the more usage of this technology for various other things. Now very hottest skill they are looking for is blockchain. 2018 out of first 5 blockchain skill set is most wanted actually.
What is the background?
Sorry.
What is the background experience or what?
No, fresher. Okay, they have C++ actually. So they can start from, it can be written in any language. Okay, you can do it in .NET actually, Python, or Go language, which is the latest one actually. So it can be written in anything. There will be a framework, or that we can write it actually. I will show you the architecture also. I'll show you. Yeah.
Can a person who is having experience for about 7-8 years in web developing, can he take a shot in blockchain?
Of course, I'm an example. No, yeah, sure.
What means it's a new language?
No, definitely.
English language, new language.
Definitely. See, there are.
ERP systems like SAP or Info, they will have to modify their system.
Over that we can build this actually. Over those systems.
Over ERP.
Yeah, we can.
So it will complement.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Yeah. So these are all the positions or designations which will be a hard skill set in future. Already the billing rates in US are $250 per hour and kind of thing actually. So which is a hottest skill set. So I'm not going into the technology stack of it actually, because it can be written in any language actually. So various other things are there. You go to the next one. Yeah. Okay. This is a sample architecture of blockchain. How it would be actually. There will be a blockchain resource provider. I said consensus and database will be in one layer, which is a base platform tier actually. Then there will be a middleware tier, where all these technologies will be involved. Then software as a solution. Smart contracts would be put in actually. So for different industries. This is a very sample architecture. So based on the need of a particular industry, so we can work through the architecture. Okay, I have, these are the services provided by my firm on blockchain space and digital transformation. Especially we identify use cases, strategize things actually, work on POCs, pilots, and help on process improvements, so on and so forth actually. So at the moment, most of the requests is I'm educating the executive levels on making them to understand what is blockchain, helping them on identifying use cases, doing proof of concepts. But I'm confident, being an early bird on this particular technology. I purposefully selected this blockchain because, I'm pretty sure it's going to be, growing like anything. And most of the organizations will be implementing and coming up with products. So we wanted to be a early bird and pioneer on that actually. So that is where we are. Go to the next one. These are all my coordinates. I can take any questions if you have got actually.
I just want to understand from what you presented, this is going to be the life of in the coming 10 years.
I wouldn't, 10 years is a long time actually.
I'm just talking taking a time, lead time, complete implementation, all the sectors.
No, it won't take 10 years. I'm pretty sure next 5 years, there will be a lot of implementation because, see, in IT space actually, things have changed. No longer where we work on a project for 1.5 years and all will be there. They will estimate a project for 1.5. All these implementations happen within 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Because nobody has the patience to wait for 1.5 years to see a benefit for the company. Everything is because the framework is already available. You are going to build over that, right? So nobody will wait more than 3 to 6 months to complete a project these days. Any big corporates also.
So then, what's my next question is, then this is going to be the life of complete the future.
I will put it this way: wherever multiple stakeholders are involved and transaction involved, it is going to change the transaction world for sure.
No, but what I'm trying to say is the future is going to be blockchain. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
Inevitably for long duration.
Yeah.
Longest duration.
Yes. Transfer from there is no single point of failure. Actually, everybody will have a transfer. Digital. Okay.
So the same technology is going to be used, only the implementation will be different. The framework and implementation will be different. But still the same technology is going to be used on.
No, we can transform that to a different one actually. Which has got
He is talking for a process. The process change will be there, but technology is same blockchain. Right?
See, it has got more frameworks. Blockchain is technology we speak, right? So the concept frameworks are more. I talked about Hyperledger Fabric, Ethereum, multi-chain, R3 Corda. All these people are doing research for a long time. They got labs in Singapore and stuff like that actually, right? So many frameworks are coming up actually. So
you mentioned in one of the slides post-trade process. Is it in the similar analogy of post-sales service, something like that?
No.
That is different. I know that.
Trading.
What is this actually?
See, Nasdaq, right? Lot of transactions happen. Lot of transaction. Okay. So after the trade transactions, it has to be processed properly, right? So you take DTCC, you go and explore that. They are the number one, 99% of the US transaction. Yeah, thanks. So Kannan sir want to bring at least on every ABN from one IT thing, which is the happening thing. Future we might be doing with Prasad sir is there, so we'll do to the IoT and all those kind of things actually. I'll be happy to come and assess at your organizations, identify use cases and put together a strategy and those kind of things, okay. So I'll be happy to help on. I'll keep my business card here, if anybody is interested, you can take it actually, anytime approachable. Thank you, thanks for the opportunity.
ராமநாதன் ராமநாதனை பார்க்கும்போதெல்லாம் எனக்கு ஜான் ட்ரவோல்டா மாதிரி தான் தெரியும், அப்படியே ஒரு விளையாட்டு பிள்ளையா இருக்கும். இன்னைக்கு பார்த்தா ஸ்டீவன் ஹாக்கின்ஸ் மாதிரி தெரியுது, எனக்கு ரொம்ப பயமா இருக்கு. இவ்வளோ சரக்கு உள்ள வச்சிட்டு இருக்காப்ல. ஐட்டா என்னைக்குமே வீணாகாது, ரைட்? தேங்க்யூ ராமநாதன்.
Thank you,
வெரி நைஸ், வெரி நைஸ்.
Thank you.